are these people?
So, lightning round, lightning round, lightning round. Okay. What's been happening with China is we've kicked ourselves in the dick unnecessarily.
China.
Yeah. Trump decided that he wanted to implement these tariffs. We talked about that a few weeks ago. China had responded by putting reciprocal tariffs down. But this person at Counterpoint China, Mario Cavolo, published about a week and a half ago that the Trump admin still doesn't understand what happened, that China actually left the room. All right. And I don't know if I 100% agree with this, but I do agree with a lot of it. They still don't understand what's happened. The Trump's team still doesn't get it. Point number one is that China left the room. They already responded to the tariffs. They are responding. Of course, there's going to be some damage, but they were prepared for this day. They're not negotiating. They literally have just moved on. That's a decision, not a negotiation. This person's prediction is that U.S. tech will collapse and is collapsing. Amazon will collapse, and it will be much worse for the U.S. and the world. There is no gray area here. There is only one move.
I don't know about Amazon collapsing.
Well, because Amazon is heavily dependent on China.
Yes.
And on drop shipping from China.
Yeah, but I think it'll be all right.
I agree. All right. China has clearly stated what that move is for Trump to remove the tariffs. Again, this was written on April 17th. And what's happened is basically he's backed off on pretty much all the tariffs. Point number two is that they are either utterly incompetent or they're doing this on purpose, controlled demolition. With $8 trillion due for refinancing, they need interest rates to plummet. Treasury Secretary Bessent made it clear that their focus is on the bond market, which most people don't pay attention to. Bonds are rising, which means interest rates are falling worldwide. But U.S. bonds are not cooperating. So they need to cause economic upheaval to cause interest rates to go down because this $8 trillion is due for refinancing. And that plan is completely backfiring with disastrous results. They actually believed that that wouldn't happen, but here we are. The situation is getting even worse than it was at the beginning. Is it possible that that's exactly what they want? Well, if you, according to Whitney Webb and the World Economic Forum and all them with the Great Reset, yes, controlled demolition of the global economy. They need this economic chaos. They won't allow any good news. They aren't announcing any good news. They're just doing the opposite. Look at this. This is fucking crazy. And this is why I brought this chart. This is an overlay of 2 years of data for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. All right. In 1987, and we all remember what happened in 1987, overlaid with the current market. We literally just had a 1987 level market crash, and the charts show it.
Yep.
The Dow Jones just fell down to 0, and it's going to be a fine swell day.
Except for everybody's retirement. All right. Point two is that why? So the world runs to safety of U.S. bonds and the interest rate gets down to 3% so they can refinance that $8 trillion. But the rest of the world was already at its wit's end with America's nonsense and they're not cooperating. So that interest rate's actually going up, not down. The two most important parties in this story are the ones not cooperating with this crazy plan, the bond market and China. So next. This market disaster is going to continue, and the Fed is going to have to once again step in. And when they do, it will fix nothing. The U.S. market will roar higher on the announcement, but the big economic and trade damage is already done and ain't going to be reversed. All right? And that they're not going to fix it. Not Trump, not anyone. These economic deteriorations and gyrations are simply going to continue morphing for decades. Great. Whoever marches to the front of the U.S. political leadership line, they're not going to fix much at all. Yes, they're just going to put stewards in front of it. The system is as broken and corrupted as it gets by design. They won't default either. They'll just keep rotating the ways that they add money to the system, whether it's QE, that's quantified easing, or reverse repo, or whatever names they give it. Or what they'll do is they'll just shift to the digital dollar and they'll make it all tether or whatever. And while the trillions of dollars now in the hands of the private billionaire individuals, hedge funds, corporations, and private equity will never re-enter the system, never to be part of M2 money supply, meaning after they've crashed this economy, they sucked it right out and they're not going to put it back. I want to reference a name here that I don't really, that I probably shouldn't, but Max Azzarello called exactly this a year ago or so. That this was a Ponzi scheme, that Bitcoin was designed to suck all of the real capital out of the system and put it into the private banks for the wealthy and never put it back. Yes, the stock market will crash and go up and crash and go up and double again, while the cost of everything on average in the country will be 50% higher than it is today, whether that's 5, 10, 20 years down the line. All right. The part I can't figure out, nobody can, is what will come first, a deflationary spiral type of disaster or a stagflation type of disaster. Either way, we're heading into one of those disasters. Right now, it's looking like stagflation. Why? Because the world is quietly but surely leaving the U.S. bond market. So that means, come hail or high water, real market interest rates are not going to go down. Furthermore, there's going to be inflation of goods prices. So that's a double whammy, pushing up real interest rates no matter what the Fed does. What a fucking mess. All right. I like this article. I don't 100% agree with all of it, but I think that it had some really good points and premises to it. And I definitely think that China has left the table for the most part. They don't need the United States to survive as a country and as an economy. All right. Nope. BYD, ever heard of a car company called BYD? They're the biggest car company in the world, and they don't operate in the United States at all and sell passenger vehicles here. They sell more than Tesla, more than Ford, GM, Toyota, Volkswagen, every other manufacturer. They don't sell a car here. And our government has been fighting like crazy to keep them out here by issuing protectionist tariffs against Chinese-made cars, because the minute they do come into this market, every other market's cars are toast. They are going to take up, because we don't have affordable cars right now, and they make affordable cars. They make a $15,000 car that is as nice as any $30,000 car available here right now. And that scares the shit out of every car maker that's not BYD here. So they've lobbied the federal government to issue protectionist measures like a 100% tariff or more on Chinese vehicles entering the United States, or a ban on Chinese vehicles entering the United States. It's garbage. And meanwhile, who hurts? The U.S. hurts, because the public doesn't get access to these superior cars for less money, and we end up having to pay more for the jacked up prices for the luxury cars that are out there, and even the basic transportation. The average price of a car is, I think, over $30,000 or $40,000 now. Support independent media, because we need it more than ever, folks. Love you all. See you soon.
Keep listening to what little birds have to tell you. Good night, fam.
We are out of here. Bye, Felicia.
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I think I liked it better being blind, when I couldn't read between the lines, and when I couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. I thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. They both bleed us so dry.
My favorite songs don't hit the same way. I get to the end of a 4-minute track and I'm only looking back thinking, what did they actually say?
You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen? To 50,000 died, and now we know our mission. We form a militia, make Congress a prison.